Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dope People podcast, the place where I let you inside my world. And it has been a little while since I last let people into my world. I had a bit of a clearing up to do. I had a bit of a mess going on that I was trying to make sense of. And I'm pretty happy and excited to be coming back to this space because I'm giving myself permission to re-enter the flow that I was in of putting content out there and just sharing pieces of myself. And that feels really purposeful to me in itself because it's still going on with that practice of self-expression, but there's also the importance of giving ourselves that time to be on our own when necessary. And I had to do that over the past days. I actually recorded some videos and I wasn't sure if I wanted to share them. And I sent it to one friend and it really hmm she saw value in it, but I guess I judged myself because um, it felt really personal. It felt really personal because I am starting to step into things that I'm not used to stepping into, and it takes a bit of a recalibration process. So here's one thing that I'm definitely noticing is that when we start exploring new aspects of ourselves, it it shows us where we were still clinging on to old things. And I've been reflecting a lot about this. Of course, the non-attachment and letting go of outcomes and just enjoying the process, always doing things with intention as opposed to doing them with a goal orientation, always about the process. And of course, we can use dreams as our North Star to know like where we're heading to and what um, fuels us in our desires. But ultimately, if we stay behind the scenes and pay attention to our intention, the reason why we do things, it really clarifies things. But I had a bit of a mix up with that. I think mm, it's not that I had a mix up with my intention. I'm always clear with that, and my intention is always the same. It's always rooted in love. And I think that for all of us, it's that. It's just that it gets clouded with other ideas. Um, but there's one thing that was on my mind and heart this morning that I wanted to speak of, and it's the big topic of coherence. Because I think that's when we get clouded, when there's an incoherence within us. And I've talked briefly about what coherence is in the video called Energetics 101, where I talk about quantum physics and what it means to be coherent, meaning that our thoughts, how we feel, and the choices we make, our actions, are all aligned as one, and also coherent in the sense that our heartbeat is beating at a frequency that feels right to us, that is in sync with nature, with our nature. And we all have a unique expression of what our nature is like. But if we all get in tune with our unique frequency that is found in our own coherence, then I believe that this really magical thing is going to happen where perhaps, I don't know, maybe, just maybe, throwing ideas out there, but the planet is going to sing the most amazing song ever because everybody's going to be attuned to their own unique frequency that feels fully aligned and coherent. So let's talk a little bit about maybe what made me feel incoherent over the last days and how I kind of tried to make sense of that. Um, yeah, okay, because it's funny. It's a bit of a funny thing. All right. So, um, first first thing is I've definitely been talking about my hair a lot, and obviously I got it cut. And it took me uh first I went through a bit of a grieving process with like the longer curls, which is fine. I'm totally cool with having shorter curls. Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. And then it was this whole thing of just not feeling right about certain things, like how it was meant to be placed and whatever. And it just, I always use my experience to reflect on things. So it can be as small of a thing as a fucking haircut. And it causes this whole reflection for me where I was thinking about like, okay, well, obviously I still have attachment to this avatar, like how I perceive myself, and um yeah, definitely like I was pointed some attachments that I still hold, which is really interesting. So I was like, okay, acknowledge that that's something to be with, because if I if I think that I'm losing myself because I'm losing my look, or I'm losing, let's say, shaving my hair, for example, um, which is definitely, I mean, I think all girls probably get that idea once in a while, but we're not there. We're not there. Um, but it showed me that I have attachments there. So that was interesting. But then I was thinking about, for example, yogis. You would think that yogis are like super detached and they practice detachment, right? And it's, well, one thing that I have heard in the 40-day yoga thing that I've been doing this month is that they recommend that you shower before partaking in your yoga practice. So it's definitely more about feeling than appearance, definitely. And I also realized that it was way more about feeling than appearance when I hung out with myself last night. And I've been trying to make sense of what my hair was supposed to look like, because the haircut that I got was supposed to be like some sort of like curly bangs. But I just realized that for me, I'm not a big fan of having something on my forehead. Like I can do it, like sure, but it's not like my favorite. So right now I'm like doing this little like almost like Betty Boop hairstyle, which I think is kind of funny, kind of cute. I don't know. But hey, it is what it is right now. Um and yeah, I'm starting to embrace it more, and I'm gonna find many ways to play around with it. I'm sorry for the people who are like so uninterested in those fucking hair stories. It's just that my experience is serving as bigger topics, so let's just bear with it for a moment. um so as I hung out with myself last night, I realized that okay, I'm not like a big fan of having stuff on my forehead. It doesn't make me feel very good. So I had elastics around, and I did those two pigtails like that. And like yeah, it's different, but it made me feel so much better. So yeah, and that was just a realization that I really don't care about it being more mainstream or less mainstream or whatever it is. I just want me to feel good about it. And it made me also think of like when I ask myself questions, I look to the people I look up to. And one of those people is Sadhguru. So I remember I was reflecting on that because I think it's a funny image. So picture this guy. Sadhguru is this Indian mystic, and he has been touring all around the globe. Especially recently, he's been connecting with more of the Western society and has been doing these interviews with a lot of people. So it's definitely something that I've enjoyed doing, watching these interviews once in a while and seeing what kind of wisdom he has to share. And well, recently he found himself in what I thought was a pretty funny situation where he's been living in an RV with this. Well, when he showed up, at the moment he recorded the video, he was dressed in these overalls with a flashy orange shirt under it. And I think he was wearing this like cowboy hat or something. And it was this really funny combination. And then he was preparing a meal and he was like, he made a video out of it. Like, this is me making food because this is my current situation, right? We always use our current experience to make sense of bigger things, and we attribute meaning to things. At least I don't know, that's what I do. I'm pretty sure we all do that. But um so it was a very funny situation that he was in, almost like a cooking show with a whole new look to himself, because he's an Indian mystic and now he's in overalls with a farm hat and a flashy orange shirt, and he's making this banana sort of honey nuts combination meal. And he was also like really honoring how he was feeling, which I really love. Like, he was making a really big meal because he was just acknowledging how hungry he was. And you would think, even of yogis, sometimes that they would be living this very ascetic lifestyle of holding back or being super disciplined or regimented, regulated with their ways. I think maybe sometimes we have this idea because we associate maybe yogis with living in the temples and spending time at the ashrams. So that was a really interesting, for me, it was a correlation of just embracing the situations we find ourselves in and allowing ourselves to perceive ourselves anew. So again, before getting my hair cut, it was Halloween night the night prior, and I just felt like it was time to let go of things. I felt like I was grieving something inside, and so I just set the intention that, okay, we're gonna just create space for a new version of self to emerge, and allow myself to step into whatever it is that is calling me right now. And I think we all reach those points where we're like, I'm not feeling as connected to myself or as excited, and I'm not sure what direction to take, but it definitely involves this process of death and rebirth, because when you experience the end of something, it's about to be the beginning of something new. And other ideas that I've been just like playing around, I'm not sure if this is a value, but I'm gonna share anyway, is that I was wondering if I was being untrue to self, if I was like putting more effort into appearances and stuff like that, and in especially using tools, for example, like heating stuff and like straighteners or stuff like that to change my look. And I want to make sure that whatever I do, whatever I choose to do, whatever the topic, I must be enjoying the process. That's the only thing. So that's what really matters to me, because if I pour love into what I'm doing, then love comes out the other way. It's kind of like a machine thing. So we're not in control of what the product, but or how it is received, but we are always in control of what we put in and what we offer. So we kind of provide ingredients for something to happen, and then the way that that is digested is not our work, but we can at least pour all of our love into what it is that we are creating. So I just wanted to share these ideas. Um, so when it comes to coherence, there's I remember being in my psychology class in university. I'm sorry if you hear some like banging in the background. Just let's never mind that. um, I remember in my psychology class a while back, they were talking about cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is really just an internal conflict we feel within ourselves because we have different voices that don't match together. For example, a lot of people say that they care about the planet and we love Mother Earth, yet we make choices that don't necessarily align with that belief or that thing that we say we feel. So according to the stats back in, that was a few years ago in university, most people definitely change their beliefs instead of changing their actions. And I thought that was really interesting. I thought it was interesting because apparently it's easier that way. It's easier to make a new story, like saying, well, it's actually not really important because if I make that choice, it's not going to change anything. Or actually, I don't really care all that much. So I just gonna go along with the easiest thing I know to do. So we change the story, the belief, in order to match the action. But then there's a smaller portion of the people who actually change their action to match their beliefs. And I guess that's where the value of morals comes into play and what we really feel is important to us. What is our set of morals? What are we conducting ourselves based upon? And those are things that I don't know. I don't know how often we really reflect on that, but I think it's probably important to honor and respect the morals that we establish for ourselves, whether that be honesty or I don't know, what other morals are there? Like generosity, care. I don't know. What are the big morals? I definitely want to I'm very curious about just checking like what are popular morals right now. And as I'm doing this, my phone is at 30, well, it was 39% at 12:39. So I just think that's interesting when it happens. Um, so a moral is a lesson, especially when concerning what is right or prudent, that can be derived from a story, a piece of information, or an experience. Yeah, not that one. Number two, a moral, a person's standards of behaviors or beliefs concerning what is and what is not acceptable for them to do. Okay, so it's like rules that we place upon ourselves, principles for our own conduct. Makes sense. What are examples of morals? Okay, so here's a little list of examples. Number one, always tell the truth. I like that. Ram Dass would always say it. He would say, love everybody and tell the truth. And I love that. I love it. Number two, do not destroy property. Okay, so if that's important to you, definitely. Number three, have courage. Four, keep your promises. Five, do not cheat. Treat others as you want to be treated. Do not judge. Be dependable. Sorry, I stopped putting numbers after five. I just got tired of it. So those are examples. Justice, honesty, family, definitely different things that can regulate our conduct. And I think it's really interesting to reflect on those to see how we decide to show up. And I think that's kind of what caused me to take a pause and deciding to just wait and not show up right away on camera or for the podcast because I had this internal incoherence within me. I felt like I was shedding an old part, and I was well sensitive, and I had to recreate a story that works for me, which again is pointing to the very ephemeral nature of this sense of identity. Like, one thing is stripped away from you, you build another story. And it just helps us anchor into this linear perception of reality where I exist as a continuum as opposed to being a constantly reborn flux of energy, just driving from source energy, which is what we all are, but the mind likes to cling on to things. So we respect that as well. And it definitely brings a sense of safety as we navigate this reality. Got some percussions going on upstairs. Talking about recreating things anew and doing cool stuff. I'm not sure I was talking about cool stuff, but I have finished a second painting, which is fun. So that's on my wall, and it makes me feel better in this room as it's starting to feel more like mine. So that's another thing. And I also was on a website called Canva, and I created a poster in 2 minutes, and they got it shipped to my place within the same week. And I really love the poster, so I'm gonna show it. It's like the best thing to wake up to in the morning. So that's one thing. I it, it's a poster of Nikola Tesla, and it says, "It's a vibe." It's a vibe. So that makes me really happy. And as I was waking up this morning and see the stare of Nikola Tesla reminding me of this current of energy, of free energy, and of infinite source that is running through us in all times, which can regenerate our cells to the DNA structure. Let's just remember that machine that he was working on, like amazing, amazing projects. And it's so exciting to even just think of how these ancient technologies are coming back now, and we're being aware of them once again, and how we are returning to the um, the practical use of vibration as a means to heal and empower people, individuals, communities, the whole of existence, pretty much. So, yeah, very exciting stuff. And as I was waking up, that's the first thing I thought of. I thought of, oh, today we are creating coherence within. We are creating coherence. Yeah, yeah, that's my thing for today. Reestablish coherence, because not gonna lie, with the past days and how I felt like I was supposed to be showing up or portraying myself. um I don't know if you guys hear the sound in the background. It's just like, to me, it's so funny because it's the blender and it's the knife going on like tuck 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 tuck. It's like, can you make more noise? Oh my god. I'm so sorry, guys. If my podcasts are not like super structured or anything like that, but at the same time, like, I'm not giving a lecture here. I'm just showing up. I'm just deciding to put myself out there. So tis the practice and tis your choice to tune in. So if you do, well, that's cool. Yeah. So how do I build coherence within myself? I was taking notes about that this morning. I was in the bath. Yes. Just okay. So let's see if I kind of talked about everything. Mm, my little notes for the people who are watching. The kind of things I do. Yeah, right. Well, I did make a note that I wasn't able to show up here until I was coherent within, because I feel like for me, it's important to be authentic, to whatever that means. And I've asked myself a lot about what it means to be authentic. And to me, it's like not playing a role. It's showing up as myself. And that means that it's going to be the exact same thing, no matter who I'm with. And it's a very, it can be, it could be challenging depending on the situations or contexts that we're in, because we often feel like we have to cater to other people. Or for me personally, I definitely find myself to be kind of balancing out whatever's going on in the energy exchange with somebody else. But if I'm just recording and just talking with myself, well, it's most like it's like I'm not putting up a mask or anything. Not that I would be putting up a mask otherwise, but like all I'm saying is that I have noticed that in relationships with people, I work on balancing, as opposed to if I am on my own, I don't have to balance anything. I can just be in my own energetic field. And so if there's a mess in here, it's my mess. That's it. And it's my work to clear that up. So I want to make sure that when I come on here, I am being coherent with myself, or I'm speaking on the incoherence I find within. Because if I just cannot speak on a topic until it's clear to me. That makes sense. So if I'm talking about something and I have multiple voices inside my head that don't match together, it feels like I'm lying, and that is not a good feeling. And I think a lot of people do that, but unconsciously. So it really requires the self-inquiry process and questioning ourselves, like, am I being fully honest here? Am I actually really voicing what I feel and being honest with myself about what I feel? And that's how doing the two pigtails with my hair yesterday was like, oh, that felt like coherence for a moment there, because at least I was doing something that felt good to me, and it didn't matter about anything else. It's just it was in alignment with how I felt. I changed my action to match the feeling. Yeah. So when I feel incoherent, it's just that an action or a story has to change. I hope this makes sense. I hope it's not too messy of a delivery of ideas. Hmm. Um, I think that there's something I want to share, and it's kind of what brings me here also, is just this is in reference to a video that somebody mentioned to me this week. So thanks to them. It's a video from Terence McKenna on consuming and watching, and I was watching that this morning, and it is a precious reminder to all of us that what is most needed at this time, perhaps, I don't know, I don't know, I'm just throwing ideas out there, is art and the value of creation and putting things out there. So we don't all have to be painters and musicians and dancers and um chefs or whatever kind of artists, mathematicians and doctors and teachers and people in all fields of physical work as well. We can all be creative with ourselves, but there's really utmost value right now in creating in the sense of putting something out there and sharing the product of what we are, and that allows us to kind of enter that flow and create more beauty for all of us to soak in, to create beautiful realities for all of us. I feel like I don't know, personally I feel a big sense of purpose around that, just creating beautiful realities, and it all starts within. It really does. So it requires that we kind of look at where we're not being honest with ourselves, realign so that we feel good about our choices and feel good about um, how we show up to the world, so that we can show up in coherence. When I'm talking about incoherence, imagine like a song that is really out of tune and you can hear that it doesn't sound good. It's like I won't make those kinds of sounds because I care. Um, but you can imagine it, and it would be very unpleasant. And it's kind of like that when you're interacting with somebody, or just people can feel your vibration and can tell that there's a incoherence there. It's very unpleasant for you, for self, and the people around can feel it. So, I mean, this is not to add pressure on ourselves. I just want to really be clear on that. It's not to add pressure that, oh my God, people are going to feel that I'm incoherent if I'm not perfectly aligned within. No, we're always adjusting to new situations, new environments, to changes. Things are changing all the time, and they change quickly sometimes, and it's super destabilizing, and it makes us lose our balance. And I think there's just an invitation there for us to take a pause and be with ourselves and just see where it's not adding up, where it's not matching together, and seeing, okay, where am I holding on to something that isn't serving me anymore? And how can I create a new story that is going to serve me, or change my action so that they match a belief that aligns with how I feel, such as moral or virtue. I hope this makes sense. Anyway, I think that the chef cook upstairs has done their work, so perhaps it's my cue that I'm done as well, now that it's getting quiet. um, I thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. I'm happy to be re-embarking on that flow of creativity and putting ideas out there. I hope that they hold value for you. Anyway, whatever that served, I am sending you so much love. Mm. So much love to you for showing up, for being here. I appreciate you. You are a beautiful human. Remember that. Remember that all incoherence you feel is passing, and that we are all working towards homeostasis of ourselves at all time. Literally, the earth is calibrating it. Like, we are all cells on one big organism, so don't worry about others too much. Just worry about yourself and what you're doing, and make sure that you make yourself feel good. That's your work. On this note, thank you for being here. I will talk to you soon.